night. So yeah, it's a little bit different as far as energy. But yeah, that'd be sick if the NBA did that. But we are live now. Happy Friday to all. Hope you all enjoyed your Thursday night. I went 4-4. Whatever. I'll take it for the first night back. Honestly, I think I only posted 4 bets. I'm probably going to post like 2 more. I would take another 3-3 night right now. Just the NBA. Excited to have it back. It's just tough right now. I need another week. Let's see how these teams are looking coming out of the break before we really start putting down any serious money on these games. I ran a poll before the show started. True or false, the Bucks are a live dog at Minnesota tonight. And the viewers are pretty split on this. 35% of you said no, Doc Rivers is coaching. 33% said yes, they might win outright. And 31% said maybe they might cover.
Yeah, I voted the middle one. No, Doc Rivers is coaching. That was my vote.
Yeah, but you're biased because it's you have a thing against Rivers. Speaking of which, Doc Rivers is coming to Philadelphia on Sunday, right?
Is it the playoffs? Then who cares? It doesn't matter.
All right. So we got Raptors at Hawks. Let's get it started. Someone was making fun of my Boston accent on the I do a good Boston accent. Someone was making fun of it in the comments. They cannot guard our guys. All right, over 245.5, under 245.5. All right, Raptors at Hawks. I'll go first because you guys already know what I got in this one. I actually forgot to post this on the site, so I'll post this after. I'm on the over. I lost a point because I think it was at 244.5 last night when I made the video. I'd still take it at 245.5. Literally, every single thing points to the over here. Both teams have been trending towards the over. Recent Hawks games trending towards the over. Recent Toronto games trending towards the over. Recent matchups between the Raptors and Hawks pointing towards the over. Raptors attack the rim a lot. Hawks have been struggling to protect the basket defensively. Points to the over. Raptors run a lot of fast breaks. Hawks, terrible. They play terrible defense in transition. Points to the over. Hawks like to attack a rim a lot themselves, take a lot of those short mid-range shots, points to the over. I mean, everything points to the over here. Who knows? Maybe after the All-Star break, Atlanta comes out and decides to play lockdown defense. Maybe Capella being back on the court slows it down a little. Definitely multiple ways this bet could lose, but there's way too many things pointing towards an over bet for me not to take it. So I'm just taking the over here. Chris?
Man, I really wanted to get there with Atlanta. I couldn't know because I just don't trust them enough defensively. I'm not a believer in Toronto. I know you were on Toronto yesterday, Cal, and I really wanted to get there with Brooklyn. Glad I stayed away from that one because they look like trash. But this Atlanta team is I'm just not into laying big numbers with them. Second leg of the back-to-back for Toronto, like you said, they are just 2-8 straight up, 3-7 against the spread on those second legs of back-to-backs. They've lost 6 straight on the second leg of back-to-back games as well. But I like you said, I couldn't get there. I think if I had to play it, it'd be over like you, but I didn't have a play in this one at all. I will say Atlanta 5-1 straight up and against the spread when they're facing an unrested opponent this season. So that, of course, points to them as well. The biggest lean that I had was the Atlanta team total to go over in this one. I just don't trust. I know Jakob Poeltl's back, so that gives them a little bit of, rim protection, some rebounding as well, but I don't trust Toronto's defense. I think flying from, all the way from Canada down to Atlanta, getting in super late, it could show up a little bit. Granted, they had 7 days off in between, but it'd be Atlanta team total over. I think the number is 125.5 or nothing for me at all in this one, but that number is a tad bit too high. Yeah, Atlanta could get there, but I didn't play it. That's just a lean for me there.
Got it. Jakob Poeltl, when he came back, I was expecting the Raptors' interior defense numbers to get better, and what happened is their offensive rebounding went up. So he did improve some areas, but the interior defense is still some shitty-looking numbers there. Modi, do you have a move in this one?
So I have Trae Young over 11.5 assists. For whatever reason, the odds keep moving against me, getting better and better to bet. Like, I locked it in at plus 100. When I sent them to you, it was plus 112. Now I just checked, it's plus 115. I don't understand why it's moving the opposite direction, because in my opinion, I feel like this is a smash play. Trey's averaging the most assists per game in the month of February. He's averaging the second most potential assists in the month of February at 16.9. And then on the entire year, it's not like this is a recent heater. He's averaging the second most assists and potential assists on the entire season. He's only behind Tyrese Halliburton. He's cashed it in 7 of his last 10 games recently. That includes 12 assists that he had against Toronto in that same stretch. And it's a great matchup against the Raptors defense that's just fallen off a cliff. Like heading into the All-Star break, 6 of the last 7 point guards against the Raptors went over their assist over-under. Trey himself has cashed it in 2 of 3 games against the Raptors. In the 1 game he missed, he had exactly 11 on 17 potential assists. And I'll take that again. Like if you're telling me he gets 17 potential assists tonight, I would guess that he would go over. The Raptors are giving up the 3rd most assists per game to someone of Trey's playmaking style, and that's only gotten worse as the season has gone on. Like their defense in November and or October, November is not the same defense as it's been the past 2 months without OG and without Siakam. I mean, with Pirtle being banged up, even though I know he's back, but just in general. So I don't really understand why the odds are moving against me. So I guess from like an EV perspective, obviously it's moving the opposite direction. But from a matchup play, I love the Trey assist number.
Trey over assists kind of plays into my over as well. Chris also said he's leaning towards the over. Just want to bring this up, Doug Layton. Never trust a college with 3 names like Florida Gulf Coast. Speaking of which, where's Helms? Helms, show yourself in the comments, bro. I tailed your Florida Gulf Coast shit yesterday. Cost me $200, Helms. Show yourself in the comments. No, I'm playing. Helms is a good guy. All right, let's move on to the next one. So we got Cleveland on the road in Philly, and I'll let these guys go first, but I thought it was, I don't want to say easy one. No bet is easy, but I thought as far as the decision-making process goes, pretty easy for me to get to Cleveland here. I got it at -4, so even got a little bit of closing line value here. Do you guys, I don't know if you mentioned that you checked out the video from last night. Chris, do you agree with the Cleveland look here?
Yeah, I talked about it on my show I did this morning as well, Kyle. It'd be Cleveland or nothing for me. I faded this Philly team yesterday, and I'm probably going to continue to fade them. I just don't see a reason to back them right now. No Joel Embiid equals a no bet for me right now. They're really, really soft on the interior. Just giving up a bunch of points inside the paint. And Cleveland probably going to be a little motivated after losing that game yesterday. The only reason I didn't bet it, Kyle, because I wanted to see what was going to happen with Donovan Mitchell, of course. I talked about that as well. Cleveland, I know you talked about this, but second leg of back-to-backs, they're not the greatest. 4-4 straight up, 3-4-1 against the spread. But I just literally don't think that they're going to stop anybody. When you think about who's in their backcourt, right? I mean, you got Tyrese Maxey out there, and you got Cam Payne. Who are they guarding? I think nobody. So I think that they, especially after losing last night, Cleveland kind of letting their foot up off the gas, Kyle. I know before the All-Star break, you were mentioning this as well. When you're playing Cleveland, like, recently when they were on that homestand, you were laying a premium, right? They almost lost outright to Chicago right before. And this is a revenge game because they did lose. I think it was February 12th. They lost to this Philadelphia team 123-121, and they were at home. So quick revenge spot for them here. That's the only way I would look. And I actually was leaning towards the under in this spot as well. There's a pretty simple trend that I run with some SDQL numbers. And it says that when you look at these spots where 2 teams have played against each other within a 2-week time frame, and the first game goes under, but the second game actually opens up a little lower, right? So it goes over. First game goes over, but then the bookmakers expect less points in the next game. That trend is actually 165, 98, and 9, a 62.7% since 2013 season. It's actually hit 9 straight times this season. So under, I think, is the way I would look in this one. Philly team total under, I think, is an alternative if you think Cleveland will come out and score. But we still waiting on the injury news for Donovan Mitchell, correct?
Yeah. As last I checked, he was still questionable. I'll check again right now just to confirm that. Let me pull it up.
Someone commented and said that he practiced today.
Yeah, well, I placed the bet assuming he was going to play. I realize he's questionable, but I assumed, because we never really heard that he was actually injured, and then he sat out last night. I assumed the Cavs were just like, no, we're not going to play him on the back-to-back. We'll play him in the second leg. That's what I assumed was happening. But yeah, as you guys know, I'm on Cleveland here. So yes, Cleveland is just 3-4-1 against the spread on the second leg of back-to-backs. Chris is right there. They are 3-1 in the 4 road games on the back-to-backs, though. So actually, when they've had to travel on 0 days rest, they're 3-1. Super small sample size, who cares? But thought it was worth mentioning. Also, Philadelphia is also on a back-to-back themselves. They just played last night, too. But as far as a matchup perspective here, I mean, you got, what does Cleveland do? They take 2 shots. They finish at the basket or they take the above the break 3. It's all the team does. happens to be two areas where Philadelphia is getting cooked religiously night after night. So just from a matchup standpoint on that side of the court, it's really rough for Philly. And then the other side of the court, without Joel Embiid, what does the Sixers team do? They run the fast break, and they get to the rim. They're just slashing. They're all slashers. Cleveland's got excellent transition defense, and they're arguably the best interior defense in the NBA. This is just a matchup nightmare for Philly. Am I a little worried that it looks like, I mean, I would imagine the entire world is betting Cleveland here. Yeah, of course I am, but I got it at -4 and I'm comfortable. I'm not stressing about it. Even if Mitchell doesn't play, I still think I still think my ticket's live. So if Mitchell does play, we should be good. If he doesn't play, I still think I got a good shot at winning. Philly looks like absolute shit.
Yeah, this is a rare non-player prop for me. I got the Cavs -3.5 this morning, even before I watched your video. That made me feel a lot better when I did watch it. And yeah, I would still take them at 4.5. I mean, what if the Sixers beat the Cavs on in a kind of a fluky game where I think it was Ricky Council blew up. It was like his first game playing, if I remember correctly. And the Cavs still had a chance to win at the very end. They had a last-second shot, a three-pointer that rimmed out. The Sixers are terrible. I mean, they just got smoked by the Knicks last night, a Knicks team that, I mean, they got a little bit healthier last night because they got Boyan back and DiVincenzo played, but they're still missing OG and Julius Randle. The Sixers have the 4th worst defensive net rating in the month of February, the 2nd worst if you look at January 15th until now. Their net rating in the month of February is worse than the Hornets, worse than the Pistons. They're just among the worst teams in the NBA without Embiid. And yeah, 4.5. It's one of those ones where it feels like a rat line, but I'll still take it.
Yeah, I mean, and look at the poll. All three of us took Cleveland. Look at the poll. 79% to 13%. I mean, everyone's betting Cleveland here. If Philly wins or covers this number, the public's going to get cleaned out. But who cares? I mean, the heavy public side wins all the time. The Warriors covered -6 against the Lakers last night. There you go. Exhibit A.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl. There you go. All right, let's move on to the next game. And guys, Prop Beaver has not been fired. So Prop Beaver will be back on Monday. He was finishing up his MLB spreadsheets, and he's going to an EDM festival tomorrow. Not joking. That's what he's doing with his friends. They're going to an EDM festival. Something you don't know about Prop Beaver, he likes movies and he likes live music. So that's what Prop Beaver's doing tomorrow. He's going to an EDM festival. So ask him how the rave was on Monday.
I'm gonna have to talk to him about movies. I feel like I like
he goes to the movies almost every single weekend. He loves watching new movies. Every single shitty movie that comes out, Prop Beaver goes and sees it. And then he comes to work the next day and complains about how it sucked. That's the routine here. Anyway, Thunder on the road at Oklahoma City. Lined up at 16. Do you guys want to go first? This one kind of pisses me off a little bit. You guys have anything?
Chris, go ahead.
So I'll just say this: it's not a super sexy game at all. Like you said, I think everybody's kind of mentioned it. You know, all these teams being on the second leg of back-to-back games. That game yesterday for Oklahoma City, though, I think meant a little bit more than this one does. And this is, not stat based at all. We know that the Washington Wizards are covering darlings, especially when they're getting these big numbers. Although they didn't cover yesterday against the Denver Nuggets. Does OKC really want to win this game by 20 points? I'm not sure. But one thing I think, that I was kind of thinking about in this game, and Cal, like I said, I watched your video and it kind of makes sense. I think that Washington could really struggle to score here, right? They like to get out and run on the fast break, and OKC is really, really excellent at, stopping that. And I do think that OKC is, going to be coming for that number 1 seed. So they're going to take these games really, really seriously, as they did. Mark Daigneault's kind of talked about that in, the interview leading up to yesterday's game. So I think that the play in this game, I don't want to take the full game under because I think Oklahoma City can score as many points as they want. But that Washington team total, I think it's 112.5, 111.5. I think that's the play in this game because I do think that Washington, they rely so much on, being able to score in the fast break. And I don't think that the Wizards are going to be able to score as many as they typically do. So I think the Wizards team total under, there you go, 1 to 111.5 makes the most sense here in this spot. And I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, and that's pretty congruent with what I'm thinking too. It sucks because matchup wise, Oklahoma City should be a nightmare for the Wizards. Like Chris said, they love to get out in the fast break. Oklahoma City, arguably the best fast break defense in the NBA. They also like to attack the interior. Oklahoma City plays great defense down there. But it's the kind of thing where it's like, how can I lay 16 points to the Wizards? Like the trend is so overwhelming that the Wizards just cover these numbers. But then again, the All-Star break just happened, and last night was the same thing, and Denver covered the number. So maybe the deck, like I said yesterday, the deck's been shuffled, and we can just the trend of, hey, Wizards are cover machines on the road. Maybe we can just throw that out because maybe that doesn't exist anymore. Honestly, I didn't bet this yet, but I don't think it's a terrible look to actually it kind of goes with what Chris was just saying to just play the under here. Oh, whoops! What happened to Chris's pick? Did I just accidentally?
Yeah, it's still there.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. So, yeah,
It's still there.
I don't think it's a terrible look to just look at the under here. At 242, both these teams like to run the fast break, but you know what? This might not be a game where we see that happening. And the reason that I think the nail in the coffin that would put me on an under is Oklahoma City's been settling for a lot of jump shots. In the beginning of the season, they were all attacking the interior. They were getting into the paint, doing all their damage on the interior. They've actually been settling for jump shots. In the last 10 games, last 15 games, they're towards the top in frequency in long mid-range shot above the break three. So they've been taking a lot of outside shots. That plays into the strength of the Wizards' defense. That's basically all they can do on defense is stop jump shooters. So maybe both defenses give the other offenses problems. I don't mind the Wizards team total under. I would say game total under. I don't think I'll actually bet this, though. Mr. Modi.
Yes. So I have Tyus Jones over 8.5 assists. Now, this is another play that moved against me. Like I locked it in at -120. Right now you can get it at -115. And I don't understand why. So maybe I'm just missing something with this and the Trae Young one. I also will say I did ladder him up to 10 plus as well, just for a half unit on the ladder play. But I don't know if people just haven't caught on, but this guy's awesome. Like he's cashed 9 or more assists in 5 straight games. His last 3 games, he's had 16 assists, 15, and 14. And it's not like it's not like this has just been an easy part of the schedule. Like last night, 14 assists against the Nuggets. Right before the All-Star break, 15 assists against the Pelicans. He had 9 against the Celtics. So the matchup against the Thunder isn't quite as difficult as the Nuggets one. And even then, he still, again, had 14 assists. In the month of February, he's literally averaging the most potential assists per game. He's 18.4 potential assists per game in the month of February. In terms of actual assists, he's second only to Trae Young, and he's averaging 10.6 in the month of February. I just feel like the 8.5 line is people not understanding just how good he's been because he plays for a horrible Wizards team. They also shuffled their lineup a little bit. They benched Jordan Poole and they added Marvin Bagley. Not that he's any good, but he's at least somewhat of a lob threat. So again, the fact, like maybe I'm just missing something in the reads aren't there, but because I don't understand why the odds are moving against me. But this one and the Trae Young play, like I think they're both really good plays that both of them have moved against me, but I'm still going to ride with it.
Someone said they thought Modi was JJ Redick.
No, you can't say that. Just come on.
JJ Redick's got about like 14 inches on Modi. JJ Redick's like 6'6".
Yeah, I also have been told Grayson Allen. So I guess it's the white dude guys. People just think I'm the white dude guys.
I can see. Well, Grayson Allen, it's just the haircut. It's the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, poll is leading towards the Wizards, 44%, 38%. And like I said, it's tough. Even if the matchup points to Oklahoma City, it's like, how can you lay that number? So yeah, let's move on to the next game, which is Suns at Rockets. All right. So I know I want to run the poll. I want to see how many people here are down to take the Rockets at +4 because you got the Suns on a back-to-back. Now the Rockets are as well. But you got the Rockets back at home where, no question, they play much better. Van Vliet's healthy. I am on the Suns, and I bet this because I like the matchup for the Suns. I think I like the matchup for the Suns' defense, if I'm being honest. They defend the above the break three well, and they've been protecting the rim well, the two things Houston likes to do. And also, this Rockets team, it's kind of at a point for me where I don't really care where they're playing. I took them last night because I liked the matchup against the Pelicans. Was on the road. The second half, they looked dreadful. And I didn't write it down, but they've lost like 3 of their last 17 games or something crazy where it's like, do I need to take a step back and maybe reevaluate what I think of this Rockets team? Because maybe we need to start putting them in the same category as the Spurs, where bottom tier Western Conference team, honestly. And I hate to say it because I won a good amount of bets on the Rockets earlier this year, but maybe I think my read on the Rockets just might be wrong. And I need to take a step back and just reevaluate what I think of this Rockets team. Short number like 4. I'm on the Suns here. I do like the matchup, but it's more, I think I might be in fade Rockets mode. It's crazy. Either you guys?
I passed on this one. Just I couldn't find anything I liked.
Chris?
Yeah, so I almost got there with Phoenix as well. And I still may, Kyle. I think you're definitely on the right side here. I just don't like that. I don't like that Nurkic has been downgraded to doubtful. And of course, Bradley Beal, who didn't play yesterday, is also listed as doubtful in this one. But it's Phoenix or nothing for me, Kyle. I'm with you. I think this Houston team, trying to, analyze it. I think, some of it has to do with injuries. Tari Eason being a big piece for them. Also lost Dylan Brooks for some time. Last 5 games for the All-Star break, it was Fred VanVleet. So him kind of getting acclimated, back, running the team. He didn't show up yesterday at all. He could have just stayed in Houston. No need to go to New Orleans yesterday. And it's that. I think the other thing that you didn't mention, Kyle, to kind of add on to that point, Phoenix they don't really lose back-to-back games. I got them at 5-2 straight up and against the spread after a previous loss in the year of 2024. So also 7-2 straight up with a +5 point differential, which is really clear to where this spread is. And looking at Houston, they're 2-8 straight up when they're unrested. They're -8 in point differential. So this makes all the sense in the world. I know, like you said, Houston plays a lot better at home. They're only 5-21 on the road, which they got smoked yesterday. But I'm in fade Houston mode as well. It's either play the opposite team, because I'm not purchasing anything that they have on the table at anything out of their vending machine. They can keep it. It's either opposite team or I'm completely off of them. So I'll see what happens with the news with Nurkic, because I really would like him to be in here. I think they need him, to slow down. What's the guy's name?
Sengun,
yeah, Alfred Sengun. But outside of that, yeah, I do think that Phoenix bounced back, especially after losing the way that they did to Dallas last night.
Yeah, it looks like Nurkic has been downgraded to doubtful, by the way. So we got Doss coming in saying Niagara tonight. What's the line on this? Am I going to tail another one of you freaks out there in the comments? Hold on. let me check the line before I jump in on this one, because Helms cost me. Helms cost me yesterday. All right, let's see what you got here, Dost. Niagara. -1.5. -108 on DraftKings. All right, screw it.
All right. We only got one name too, Kyle, so that might be better for you.
I'll stay away from the 3 named teams. Wise words there. All right, I'm gonna tail this. Niagara. 1 second. Niagara. Come on, DraftKings. There we go. -1.5. Bet placed. I am in. We'll see. We'll see, Dost. Next game. We got Clippers at Grizzlies in Memphis. The poll, by the way, was heavy on the Suns here. 66%, 26% in favor of Phoenix. All right. Modi, would you like to take lead off on this one?
Sure. So I finally got a play to move in my direction. I had Vince Williams, so I took him over. I took him over 23.5 points, rebounds, assists. Right now, it's best offered at 24.5, and I'd still take it at that number. I kind of feel the same way with him that I feel about Tyus Jones, or like maybe people just haven't caught on. He's literally cashed the over 23.5 that I got in 9 straight games, and he's cashed over 24.5 in 7 of 9 games. So only twice did he have exactly 24. And in the last 10 games, like with the skeleton crew of the Grizzlies, he's playing an average of 35 minutes. Now that they have some guys back, like Luke Kennard is back, Derrick Rose is back, he might not get to 35, but as long as he gets to 30, that's kind of the sweet spot here. In games that he's played 30 more minutes, he's gone over 23.5 in 13 of those 15 games. He's averaging over 15 points at 15.1, so just over, but still 6.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists in his last 10 games. And in his last 5, he's averaging 7.2 rebounds and 7.8 assists. So the matchup against the Clippers tonight, I kind of like his points the most. So I did ladder him up to 15 plus points, which I got at plus 165. I'm not sure what that's at now, but I would still take that ladder play. But the fact, sorry, something in my throat. The fact that he has been getting more rebounds and assists is why I went with the PRA. But yeah, the Vince Williams play, like again, at least this one did move in my favor, so I don't feel that like I did with the previous two. But again, another one, I just don't think the NBA has like caught on to this guy, at least from a prop perspective.
It's Vince Williams Jr. over. Chris?
I couldn't quite get here anywhere. I just be talking to you guys. I really want I just be talking out loud, and that's not what I want to do on the show. I don't like the spot for the Clippers here, especially with them being on the second leg of a back-to-back, of course. I will tell you guys this, though. I looked into this because I was just kind of interested. Road favorites laying unrested road favorites laying 9 points or more. Since the start of the 2018 season, they're actually 24-14 against the spread. I thought, man, like, the Clippers maybe want to come in here and win the game, of course, especially after they, got mollywopped last night by the Oklahoma City Thunder. But I just didn't know if they wanted, would be encouraged to win the game by double digits. I want to stay off. I don't know how you guys feel. I want to stay away from Memphis. Memphis is one of those teams where they can kind of, like deflate the room at certain times, but also, they have that covering potential. I think they have covered, 3 in a row as home dogs in their last 3 games. Getting LaRavia back in this spot. So not a game that I'm super interested in betting at all. I'll pass this one to you, guys.
I am betting this game, and I got Memphis at plus 10. Obviously, with a team like the Grizzlies, there's always some risk involved. They're not a good basketball team, but they've been covering these numbers at home. Even when you look at the efficiency numbers and they're like 29th offensively and 21st defensively, they're still somehow covering the number. They've done a good job. I think they're 7-3 or 7-4 against the spread in their last 10 or 11 at home. They've been covering the number, getting a big number here from a Clippers team that's on a back-to-back on the road. And then there's 2 angles as far as how they match up on the court that got me there. Number one, Clippers like to run the fast break. They're 9th in frequency, 14th in efficiency. So this is a team that pushes the tempo a lot. That is one of Memphis' only strengths, is defending the fast break. I believe they're 3rd in defensive efficiency in transition this year. So, okay, there's a positive angle for Memphis. And then number 2, actually, the Clippers have been taking a lot of jump shots recently, and the only thing Memphis has done well is defend the three-point shot recently. So actually, Memphis on paper is somewhat of a tough matchup for the Clippers. Obviously, the Clippers are a much better team than Memphis. There's a reason they're laying 9 on the road, so there's some risk involved here. But I got in at plus 10, and I'm comfortable in my position. I'm going to roll with the Grizzlies. Our poll goes towards the Clips. 47%, 42% in favor of LAC. Next game. All right. Heat at Pelicans. This line is now down to 2.5. Over 218.5. Under 218.5. All right. Running the poll. I'll start with this one. I am on the Heat. Matchup-wise, you can make arguments either way. Definitely can see why you're on the Pelicans. There's a couple fortunate matchups here for the Pelicans defensively, because the Heat offense obviously isn't very good. But as a whole, there's just a lot of things I like. It checks off a lot of boxes in terms of Miami Heat on the road. I like to bet them. Miami Heat getting points. I like to bet them. And the Heat defense is playing, it's just one of the best defenses in the NBA over the last 10 games. They've been playing elite defense. They're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8. Continue to cover the number. Jimmy Butler's back on the floor after losing a family member, I think it was. So Jimmy Butler's back with the team. I know Tyler Hero potentially being out for this game definitely hurts. But as a whole, the Miami offense isn't good. So it's not like, oh, man, they're going to lose this elite scorer. The offense isn't good anyway, and I'm not betting the Heat because of their offense. Defense travels, man. And that Miami defense is going to travel with them on the road here and give the Pelicans problems. I don't know if Norm's just going to be able to get to the basket on the Heat like they can against other teams. I think the Heat win this game. So, yeah, I'm on the Heat. I got it at plus 3. Would still take it at plus 2.5. I think they win outright. Either you guys?
Sure, I'll go. So I have, yesterday I came in here with a Zion over. If Ingram misses, today I'm taking the Zion under if Ingram plays. So Zion points opened up at 23.5. Now, it opened up at 24.5. Now it's down to 23.5. I'm not touching it until I know that Ingram plays or doesn't play. It's like the stats that I gave out yesterday about how much more Zion scores when Ingram misses. It's just take the opposite of that in how much little fewer he scores. I don't know. The English language is something I struggle with. How much less he scores, I'm not sure what is grammatically correct there. When Ingram's on the court, his usage rate goes down by 6.2%. He scores 5.7 fewer points per 36. And this is a really, really tough matchup against the Heat. They just defend the rim so well. And they have guys like Jimmy and Bam who can kind of hang physically with Zion. And if he can't overpower you, it's not quite like Giannis who can finagle his way even if he can't physically overmatch someone. But Zion, he doesn't quite have the bag. The Heat give up literally the fewest points per game to someone of Zion's shooting and scoring profile, which just means they protect the rim well. So I don't have any money on it currently, but if Ingram plays and the number doesn't go down to like 20 or 21.5, I'm going to play this Zion under.
All right. Chris, are you on the Heat with me?
I am not, but I'm also not on the other side either. I'm
Okay.
not on the other side either. I'm neutral right now, but it's because of the injuries. Shout out to you, Kyle, for making these bets before. I like to know everything about the game before I bet it, but not BI listing questionable in this one. Tyler Hero, like you said as well. I actually thought the strongest play was the under, and I'm upset because I did a morning show earlier and talked about taking it at 223. Well, when I woke up this morning, it was 222. So talking about taking it at 222. By the time I ended my show, it was at 221. Now I see it all the way down to 218, and I think that is because Zion is also listed as questionable. So if Zion doesn't go, I do think you're on the right side here, Kyle, because even if Brandon Ingram does play, I don't think that he'll be as effective, especially with him missing the game yesterday. So we'll see how it goes. Miami 8-2 to the under in their last 10 games. These head-to-head matchups are actually 8-2 to the under as well. You said defense travels, Kyle, and it does. 12-5 to the under as road dogs are the Miami Heat. 6-1 to the under in their last 7 games as road dogs. And Miami's also 5-0 to the under as road dogs in non-conference games. So if these guys get rolled in and that total goes up, I'll probably jump back in on the total and take the under then, because I do expect it to, if all of those, if Hero and Brandon Ingram and Zion all play, I do think that this this total will go up, and then I'll come back in on the under.
Got it. So we have a under, a Heat, and a Zion under. So everyone leaning towards a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be low-scoring as well. 53%, 37% in favor of the Heat. That's where the community's at. Next game, Milwaukee at Minnesota. All right, you guys can go first on this one because – all right, go ahead.
Chris, go ahead.
All right, so I like the under in this spot. Under is my favorite play here. 220. I think it's up to 226 on some books, but it opened at 223.5. So definitely wait see if it goes up a little bit more. But 225.5, I'm cool with it being there. I just look at Milwaukee's poor offense recently. It's been really, really bad. I don't know if anybody remember the game before the All-Star break when they were in Memphis and lost outright as 14.5-point favorites. Now, granted, the All-Star break was probably good to them, but I'm not trusting them offensively in this spot. They're just 3-7 straight up and against the spread in their last 10, and a lot of it is because their offense has been so bad. 8-1-1 to the under in their last 10. They're actually 0-5 straight up and 1-4 against the spread as road dogs, and that's a lot of that has been because they're not scoring the ball. We know when they're in home games, we see totals of 239, 240. These two teams, of course, did just play, and they struggled to score against the Minnesota Timberwolves when they were at home just a few weeks ago. And Minnesota's been hot. Now, granted, they played against the Portland Trail Blazers without, Brogdon in the last couple games. 7-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 10. One thing I looked at, though, was when Minnesota is one of those unfocused teams at times, but when they are playing against the elite competition, 55% win percentage or better, or they're in a game where the spread is 4 points or less, and they're at home. This is when their defense turns up the best. They've actually only given up 110 points or more just once out of the 5 times that they've been a 5-point favorite or less. So if you catch them in these small spreads, they take those games seriously. If people remember back to the game against Philly earlier this season, the game against Boston earlier this season, they went to overtime and still stayed under the total. So I think, defensively, they do have the bodies. Patrick Beverley being there doesn't help the offense any either. I think he'll get, some playing time. Same thing with Jay Crowder. Those guys are more defensive minded. And I do think that Doc Rivers is trying to flip the identity of this team from offense to defense. So give me the under 225 in this spot. I like that a little bit more than this side, but if I had to play the side, I'd be on Minnesota as well. I'm just not a believer in the Bucks. They're gonna have to show me before. I'm also not purchasing anything from their concession stand.
You're on the under, leaning towards Minnesota. Modi.
So I have Brook Lopez over 1.5 made 3-pointers. Minus 146 is about the steepest I'll ever play something. It's just with 3-pointers. When you go up by 1, it obviously makes a huge deal going from needing to make 2 to make 3. But this is just a matchup play. Like, Rudy Gobert is obviously an incredible defender, but he's going to stay in the paint, and stretch bigs like Brook Lopez can get off some shots from deep against the Timberwolves. They play drop coverage. They like to keep Rudy Gobert in the paint, and they'll let guys like Brook Lopez shoot. And last time they played, in only 25 minutes of play, Brook Lopez made 2 3-pointers. He shot 4. He's also done this against similar defenses, not necessarily similar in terms of the quality of defense, but the style. He had 6 made 3-pointers against the Pelicans with Valanciunas, 5 against the Nuggets. Jokic likes to drop, and 4 against the Blazers. I don't remember if Ayton played in that game, but they do like to play the drop coverage type of defense as well. 5 straight centers have cashed their 3-point total over against the Timberwolves. Granted, it was either like over under 0.5 and they made 1, or over under 1.5 and they made 2. So it's not like they give up a ton, but all he needs to do is make 2. And I think he will probably get up 5 to 6 shots just because of how they play defense. Again, minus 146. I normally try to go the opposite. I try to play high plus money plays, but for this one, I thought it was even worth it, even at that number.
All right. So people are probably not going to like my pick on this one. I'm taking the Bucks. I'm taking the points and the money line. I'm going to post on the website after. The reason it sucks is I don't have a ton of good logic backing this bet. There's a little bit of a quote unquote, I got a feeling involved in this. And that's terrible. Don't bet on that shit, man.
Hey, well, Cal, the last time you gave out one of those was probably right before the All-Star break. It was after the Lakers had lost to Denver, right?
Yeah.
And they were on the second leg of the back-to-back, and they beat the Pelicans. So go with your gut.
And also, I took the Bucks to beat somebody in a similar spot. I forget who it was.
The Nuggets.
It was the Nuggets? Yeah, I took the Bucks to beat the Nuggets also.
And they beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. So I've been these I got a feeling spots. I've done pretty well in them. All right, for starters, the strength of the Minnesota Timberwolves team all year has been protecting the rim. They have the best interior defense in basketball, probably. Bucks have no interest in going in there. They don't attack the basket at all. In fact, as far as shot frequency goes, they're dead last in shots taken within 12 feet or closer. So they don't attack the rim. Kind of takes the elite part of the Minnesota Timberwolves team out of the game in a sense. But also, this bet is kind of based on, all right, we're past the All-Star break, right? The deck's been shuffled. Minnesota laying 4.5 points at home here, which means on a neutral court, Minnesota's about 1 point better than the Bucks. Is that what we really think we're going to see down the stretch? Because I don't. I think Minnesota's going to be down around the 4 or 5 seed in the West, and the Bucks are going to be probably the 2 in the East. And I think in the second half of the season, we're going to start to see what teams really are. And if you take a step back and just disregard the last month, take a step back. It's like, do we really think straight up right now that the Minnesota Timberwolves are a better team than the Bucks? I don't know about that. Like in a playoff series, 7-game series, 2-3 months from now, I don't know. I don't know if I would take. I think I would take the Bucks. So I know recent performance, definitely Bucks are struggling. Bucks are not covering on the road, and there's good reason to take Minnesota here based on that. But the deck's been shuffled, man. The All-Star break happened. We're at a new section of the season now, and I don't know if all those trends, just like I don't know if we could trust taking Washington with the big number on the road anymore. I don't know if we could blindly bet the Pistons anymore. I don't know if we could blindly fade the Bucks on the road anymore and treat them like they're a 4 or 5 seed in the East, which is kind of how they're being priced here, because I think they're a better team than that, and I think Minnesota is slightly worse than they're currently valued. So I'm taking the Bucks. Don't have the best reasoning for it, but I got a feeling. I got a feeling, man.
I just got to say, hot take thinking that the Timberwolves are going to drop to the 4 or 5 seed, because right now they're literally the number 1 seed.
Right, but I mean,
5.5 game
but
lead.
look at the teams behind them, like the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Suns, all teams I consider better than Minnesota. Oklahoma City, I
don't know. Suns are 6.5 games. They're the 7 seed right now. The Suns are.
Yeah, Minnesota. I would like to see their records since like December 15th, because Minnesota, didn't they start like 18-1 or some shit?
I could probably pull that up in 2 seconds. I just think that the Timberwolves are the perfect regular season team. I'm not saying in a playoff series they're going to do much, but like that defense, like you talk about the Heat defense traveling, that defense is going to travel as well.
And by the way, the guy said it before. He said, "Why'd I get kicked out of the Discord?" No one got kicked out of the Discord. So a bot ran for security, and you just have to type your email into the welcome tab, and it lets you back in. Even I had to do it. Everyone, literally every single person in there had to do it. So no one got kicked out. Next.
Since December 15th, 21-11, better record than the Suns, 6th best record in the NBA.
6th best. All right. So not the 1 seed. 6th best would put him about the 3 seed in the West. All right.
Let's see, behind. Yeah, it would be since December 15th. Yeah.
Oh, so it sounds about right then.
Well, you said 5, 6 seed better than the Suns.
I think I said 4 or 5.
4 or 5. That's what I meant. I meant to say 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about right. All right. Denver on the road at Portland. This is another one where it's like, do you trust what we were seeing before the All-Star break? Because you can't lay 9.5 points on the road with Denver. You can't do it. Or is the deck shuffled? And that doesn't mean anything, because yesterday Denver couldn't cover a spread to save their lives. Washington was free money on the road. The line was 15, and Denver still covered it. So the deck shuffled here, and with a shuffled deck, I don't know. Jamal Murray's been ruled out, by the way. Someone said it in the comments. It was announced while we were live. So Jamal Murray's been ruled out for this game. I haven't bet it yet. I was kind of wanted to see if you guys had anything before I made a decision. You guys have anything for this one?
Yeah, I have a prop that isn't changed based on Murray missing. I have Anthony Simons 25 plus points. I got it at plus 105. I'm not sure if that's still the best price. I looked at it before we hopped on. This is mostly just to play on usage, and he's going to shoot a million times. Looks like it's over 25.5 is plus 102, and I would still take it there. Yeah, this is just to play on him shooting a million times. Scoot's out. Brogdon and Shaedon Sharp are obviously still out. Those 3 out of the lineup, he's got a usage rate of almost 35%. Like, that's only behind Luka and Embiid in terms of usage rate. He averages about 5.5 more points per game, or points per 36 minutes without those 3. And the Nuggets defense maybe is different, like you said, post All-Star break, but right before the All-Star break, like, their defense hadn't been that great at guarding point guards. Let's see, De'Aaron Fox played well against them. In the last 2 times Simon played the Nuggets, he had 29 and 26 points. This year, he's only played 1 game without Scoot, but he had 29 points in that game. Granted, that was against the Pistons, but still. And 4 straight point guards have gone over their point total, over under, against the Nuggets, even though Simons is more of like a combo than a true point guard. But he's going to play that role with all those guys out of the lineup. So if I could bet on efficiency, I would bet on really bad efficiency in this one. But I do think that he's just going to get up enough shots to get to 25 points.
Yeah, and I mean, how do you not like Simons? No Brogdon, no Scoot Henderson, no Shaedon Sharp. Jamal Murray's out, so Denver's missing there. Like, it seems like the seas have parted for for Anthony Simons' legacy night. I'm not really a prop guy, but that sounded pretty good to me, especially if you can still get that at plus money. You know what? Screw it. I'm telling Matt. I'm putting it up.
Plus 102 on FanDuel. Let's go.
Plus 102. You know what? Hold on. I'm putting it down now.
Got Kyle to take a prop. I'll
right.
take that.
It's not that I hate props or hate the value on them. It makes watching the game less fun. I sat there and watched. And I remember the game specifically. Me and Prop Beaver was here. We were working. There was Celtics Sixers playoff game on. It was like it came down to the wire. It was like one of the best games of the year. And I'm sitting there into it. Prop Beaver just sitting there watching Jaylen Brown rebounds. I'm like, dude, you are not watching this game properly. This is electric right now. And yeah. That's all he was watching was Jaylen Brown rebounds.
You're giving me PTSD talking about Sixers Celtics playoff series.
Yeah, I think it was the game where Tatum sucked for 3 quarters and then went off to win it in the 4th.
Oh, in the 4th had like 19 in the 4th or whatever.
I think that's the game it was. So
was game
Anthony
6.
Simons points. So I have over 23.5 and minus 110.
You have to go to 25 plus. If you scroll down on the points market.
I have plus 110. Here we go.
Oh, even better. It must have moved.
All right, Matt. This is your legacy moment. I tail.
No pressure. No pressure.
All right, Chris. Anything for this one?
Man, this is tough. But I'll tell you guys one thing that I've been following. So y'all know how we talked about it already with Memphis, like the injuries that they have and how bad their offense is. I actually think that Memphis is better than Portland. Like with all, when you include all the injuries, like this Portland team is really, really bad. Going into the break, I think the numbers that I had, and this is without the Timberwolves, the last 2 games for the Timberwolves, they're 0-10 straight up, 1-9 against the spread without Brogdon in home games this season. They're averaging just 103 points per game, giving up 118. I mean, that's enough of a handicap to be like, you know what? No Jamal Murray, cool. Denver will figure it out because I know Portland won't. Right? Like, who do you stick in there with all the injury guards? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
right.
I just don't think, even with a team total. I mean, we got to think it's 2024. We're talking about potentially, me taking a team total under 103.5, and I think it's a good play. Like, I think both of these teams play really, really slow. I'm not worried about Portland scoring any points. Denver offense may struggle just a tad bit without Jamal Murray initiating that offense in the pick and roll with him and Jokic. So it'd be a team total under on Portland side. You talk about the duffel, the shuck being the cards being reshuffled in the deck. Kyle, this is a spot where maybe they don't even have a deck. This Blazers
they don't have any
really
spades.
Yeah, they have no spades. Good luck playing the game without any spades. You don't even have a 3. So yeah, Blazers team total or nothing for me.
You said 103.5. 103.5.
It's 103. There's some 104s out there too. Definitely shop around, but 103, 104.5. I think they could struggle to get to 90 points in this game if we see the pace that we think we may see, especially with Denver being on the second leg of a back-to-back.
Well, hopefully Simons has 25 of those 90.
Yeah, he could, right? And that could be it, right? Yeah. We do we even know if DeAndre Ayton is, if they got snow out there in Portland and Ayton's going to be a part of this one? We have no idea.
All right, so our poll is slightly leaning towards Denver, but 40%, 34%, so not overwhelming. A lot of people are going to take Portland here. Next game, we only got 2 more left. Let's see. Clear the board. Charlotte at Golden State. Now, this one, all right, so I want to talk first on this one because this is a prime example of is the deck shuffled or not, because last night, hold on, let me get the poll up. 228.5. All right. So when I made these graphics, line was at 12.5. It looks like at 3 p.m. consensus line was 12.5. Assuming still at 12.5. So last night, right, you had Lakers on the road at Warriors. Line was 6. I mean, no question. Based on what we saw before the break, that Lakers plus 6 was the move here. You had a Lakers team that was 5-2 against the spread without LeBron. Their last 2 games without LeBron, they went on the road to Boston and beat the Celtics. Then went on the road to Utah and beat the Jazz. So you had a Lakers team was actually playing better without LeBron in their last 2 games. On the road in Golden State against a Warriors team that was 7-14 against the spread as home favorites. So a team that you should have been blindly auto-fading when they're laying points at home. Not to mention, the Lakers without LeBron run over 102 possessions per game, as in they run the fastest pace in the NBA without LeBron. All they do is run against a Warriors team that's terrible against the fast break. So no question, Lakers plus 6 was the play. But we all saw the end of that. Warriors, I mean, they covered easily in the fourth quarter. The Lakers were like keeping it somewhat competitive for a lot of the game, but Warriors covered that game easily. Warriors minus 6 was clearly the right side to be on there. So is this a clear-cut example of we really need to shuffle the deck here, because we're looking at this. Here we go. Warriors at home laying a big number. If this was a week ago before the break, I don't even need to look at a single number. Just give me the Hornets plus the points, because because Warriors as home favorites is an auto fade. So that's what betting this game comes down to. Do you think the deck's shuffled or not? Not to mention these Hornets are red. These Hornets are red hot, man. Personally, I think the best move here would be just to take it, maybe an under. Hornets rely on jump shots. They take a lot of jump shots. Actually, Golden State's numbers against jump shots are pretty good. Warriors, offensively, they don't push the pace. They actually run the least amount of fast breaks in the NBA, so they're not looking to push the tempo. Slow pace, a lot of missed jump shots on either side. Give me the under, but I'm very doubtfully betting this. I actually kind of like the matchup for Golden State, but I will not lay 12.5 points. No chance in hell. So just, for the show, I'll put an under up, but unfortunately, unless one of these guys changes my mind, unless Modai's got another heater in the deck, I'm going. I'll say under or pass for now. What do you guys got?
I'll go because you just gave me the shout out. I unfortunately don't have a heater in the deck. I don't have any money on this play. Just to give something out, it's a lean. Kuminga over 16.5 points. This is mostly just because I feel like it swung too far. Like before the All-Star game or All-Star break, his over-under was 20.5, 21.5, 22.5. And yes, he did go under in 4 straight. So it's not, I understand why they moved it, but to me, that's still way too much of an overreaction because yeah, he's missed it in 4 straight games. Prior to that, he had cashed over 16.5 in 4 straight and in 5 of 6 as well. And in the one game he missed, he had exactly 16 points. And it's almost unheard of without injury news, because it's like the same lineup it's been, to have someone's point total over under drop by literally 5, 6, 7 points from what it was right like when basketball was just being played. So just because, I don't know if it was the week off, him missing it in 4 straight, like that happens all the time with young guys in a new role. I'm not scared off by the fact that he's missed it in 4 straight. And the matchup against the Hornets is pretty good. Like they just have no interior defense at this point. They really need Mark Williams back. And all Kuminga does, even though his jumpers totally failed him, he just attacks the rim. So again, I don't have any of my own money on this. This one is more of a lean than an official play. I think if both teams weren't on the second half of back-to-backs, I probably would play it. And the odds did move from -115 to -124. So there is some value just from like an odds movement perspective. But yeah, I'm not trying to sell anybody on this one. It's a lean, and I don't have any money on it myself.
Yeah, no heater in the deck here for me to tail. Chris, you got anything on this one?
It'd be under or nothing for me. I didn't bet it either. I like the Kuminga look though. I do like that one a lot. It makes a lot of sense. Really good matchup. Also, when we think about the Warriors, like, being this big of a favorite, just kind of going to what Modai was saying, this big of a favorite, you probably want to rely on some of the younger guys, right? Like Steph shouldn't have to go for 40 in this game, right? Clay's coming off the bench already. So, Brzezinski, guys like Kuminga, that makes a lot of sense. But Kyle, going back to what you were saying about the under, that's the only way I would look in this spot. I looked at the new look Charlotte Hornets that, potentially could make the playoffs. They are, I think, 3-1 to the, I'm just kidding. 3-1 to the under in their last 4 games, 4-0 against the spread. So it's no way I'm laying, double digits with this Golden State Warriors team, even though they have been red hot. I backed them twice last, what was that, 2 weeks ago against the Utah Jazz when they were able to get both of those wins. And I'm looking to bet on them, which is why I kind of, want to stay off this game. I do think that, Coach Kerr, showing those guys, I think it was a report came out that said that he showed the guys the standings and he said, this is where we are, but we want to get up to 5th. We got to take care of games like this. So yeah, they could win, but I'm not sure if they want to cover this big number. And I'm not in the interest of fading Charlotte. I made some money with them against Atlanta right before the All-Star break. They went into Utah last night, won that game outright as 8.5 point, 9-point dogs in that game.
I got it at 10.
I probably should have bet. It was the only way I was going to play it because I can't lay points with Utah right now, how bad their defense is. But going back to this one, I looked at Golden State. So I talked about the Hornets being 3-1 to the under, in their last 4 games. Golden State, when they are a home favorite in non-conference games, double-digit home favorite in non-conference games, they're not playing with a lot of pace in that spot. 2-0 to the under. Are the Golden State Warriors as home favorites in non-conference games when they're laying double digits. So I like all of those trends. I also looked at them going back to last year. Same thing, right? These are games that they play against the Wizards, against the Pistons, right? Laying these double digits. The defense plays a little bit better. Their offense doesn't score because I think what the market does is it adjusts their team total a tad bit too high. So I like the under. It'd be under or nothing for me in this one too, Cal. But like I said, haven't played it yet.
Yeah, this will be one where maybe if I can find something. I'm glad I got that Simons bet down because now I have something in that game. Oh, wait, I think we have, let's see, our polls towards Charlotte. I was thinking we were done. We have one more game left. Wow, a little out of sorts here. 60%, 24% in favor of Charlotte. Look, there's someone said Donovan Mitchell's playing, then someone said Donovan Mitchell's out, then says Donovan Mitchell's still questionable. Yo, guys, can we chill with the fake news reports? That shit is tough. Spurs on the road in Lakers. I don't know. I really like the look for the Lakers last night. Obviously, it fell short. I want nothing to do with the San Antonio Spurs, though. I didn't even watch a single minute of the Spurs-Kings game last night. Did the Spurs cover? I saw the Kings were up like 9-10 in the third quarter.
They did cover.
Spurs covered?
Yeah, Spurs cover. I think they ended up losing by 4 or 5 last night. It was like a 2-possession game. But that, Kyle, you've been following the NBA. I know you guys both have. You never can lay double digits with the Kings at home. That's where they lose outright. So
yeah, exactly. And I wanted no part of that game. I also wanted no part of the Spurs. And I kind of feel like the Spurs are a team. You know how like where you can't really explain it, you just like don't have a feel for a team. I feel like the Spurs kind of are that for me. For everyone, it's different. Everyone sees the game differently. Everyone watches the games differently. Everyone follows the sport differently. And there's certain teams that like I feel like I understand, and I feel like I know when I can count on them, and I know when I expect them to play poorly. And the Spurs, I just feel like I'm shooting in the dark here. I feel like I can't get a feel. I can't get a beat on this team. I don't really know what they are. I was having the same problem with the Dallas Mavericks back in like December. I just feel like I can't get a feel for the team. So I'm really don't feel comfortable jumping in on any Spurs games right now. Maybe you guys have something for me. For me, this is a pass for me unless I could get something.
Chris, go ahead.
So I'll tell you this, guy. I'm right there with you with San Antonio. I couldn't play that game yesterday either, and that's how it is for most San Antonio games for me. I'll tell you what has been profitable though, and especially for all the listeners. Whatever San Antonio, they for some reason their offense plays a lot better in the first half than it does in the second half. So if they just so happen to cover like the first half spread, or they like score like a lot of points more than their projected number, and then I can take a live under on their team total, because their second half offense is almost as bad as the Phoenix Suns, excluding the fourth quarter, of course, because Phoenix is the worst fourth quarter scoring team. But for whatever reason, the Spurs just kind of run out of gas, and I do think that'll probably happen tonight in the second half of this game. I also think, and it doesn't really line up well.
So you like Spurs first half?
So, no. I'm definitely not betting the Spurs. I think just a lot. Yeah, we don't even need a graphic, but whatever. If the Spurs score a ton of points at halftime, right, then you just live bet their team total to go under, because they never score, and that's how they end up not covering. If you remember back to the last game before the All-Star break, they were playing against the Dallas Mavericks, and they actually they might have been winning that game at halftime. And then they proceed to not even cover the full game spread. They end up losing the game by like 25. So that's what I'm telling the viewers, to just, watch the game. If they happen to score a bunch of points, just, live bet their team total to go under. They are 4-1 to the over, however, when they're road dogs and they're unrested. And the Lakers being back home, LeBron James says that he's going to play in this game. That team total is 125.5, Kyle. But we know the Spurs like to run up and down the floor. So I guess that's something, but I didn't play this one. I couldn't get there. I would be taking the Lakers. I do think that this is a game where they can come out and really dominate, even on the second leg of a back-to-back. A fresh LeBron James as well. It'd be Lakers or nothing for me, but I didn't bet it.
I put Spurs plus 10 up there because as I was just thinking and listening to what he was saying and looking at a couple things on the side here, I've arrived at a lean. Still not a bet, but I think I would lean towards the Spurs plus the points. Modi?
Arrived at a lean.
I arrived at a lean. I was at nothing. I've arrived at a lead.
Yeah, there we go. All right, I have D'Angelo Russell 20-plus points. It was plus 125 when I sent it to you. I think it's now plus 120. I'd still take it at the plus 120 number. Yesterday we were all over D'Lo assists, no LeBron. That cheat code, unfortunately, does not apply tonight because LeBron's back. But I really do like his points for tonight. I feel like people are looking at he's gone under this in his past 2 games. Well, look at his assist numbers. He had 26 combined assists in his past 2 games. So it's only right. It's only natural that his points are going to be down when his assists are up. Prior to that, he had gone over. He had scored 20-plus points in 3 straight games prior to this 2-game absurd assist stretch. Now he gets to go up against the Spurs, who can't guard anybody from the perimeter. They're literally giving up the most points per game to point guards in the NBA. Last night, Fox had 28 against them. The game before the All-Star break, Kyrie hung 34 on them. They're allowing the second most points per game. This is per Courtside Pal to someone of his shooting profile, and the 6th most to both his playmaking and rebounding style. The rebounding one just kind of shows you where they are on the court, less so how they score. But I do think all that stuff is kind of important to look at, just different emphasis on each one. The 20-plus points, like with LeBron back, he's not going to be playmaking as much, probably going to be scoring a little bit more, maybe not as high usage rate, but just more scoring opportunities. So yeah, we've cashed D'Lo assists the past 2 nights. Now it's for points.
Yeah, I will not be tailing you on that one. Man, D'Angelo Russell, whenever I bet on the Lakers, this dude cannot hit a shot to save his life. And the only time he ever shows up is when I bet against the Lakers. So, I mean, actually, if I'm bet the Spurs, you'll probably cash.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for whatever reason, he's like my least favorite type of player. But I looked it up because this is when I gave out on my own YouTube channel. I've cashed 4 straight plays on D'Lo, 2 points, 2 assists. So
you just jinxed yourself.
Reason, yeah, you're probably right. I shouldn't have said that.
So polling heavily towards Lakers. Lakers -9.5. -9.5 gets 49% of the votes. So how about a community parlay, ladies and gentlemen? All right. So Raptors at Hawks. Hawks won that poll. So Hawks money line. We got Cavs at Sixers. Cleveland won that. Wow, Cavs at -6 now. I guess that means Donovan Mitchell probably is playing.
Or did someone on the Sixers get ruled out? Because that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a serious movement.
I've been kind of looking. I haven't seen anything outside of Patrick Williams being ruled out for the rest of the season. He's going to undergo season-ending surgery. But I was waiting for the Donovan Mitchell news so I could jump in. But I told you I liked it, Kyle. Shout out to you for getting the best of the line because now I got to get a 6 if I want it.
Yeah, I got it at 3.5.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got in at 4. I'm sorry. I got in this one at 4. I got in the Suns at 3.5. Real quick, while they're voting, you guys, actually, you guys probably just heard Modai yesterday say it, but Matt, you want to tell these guys where they can watch your stuff if they want to check out your show?
Yeah, just search my name on Jedi or my Twitter handle. You see here, Jedi Modai. It's Jedi Modai Sports Network on YouTube. You can find me at Jedi Modai on Twitter. If you go there, you can find anything you need.
Cool. And Chris, I know that's your Twitter name underneath. What time do you upload your show? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I do a live show. Been trying to get ahead of the lines for the last couple of weeks. So we've been going live around 9:30, 10 o'clock Eastern time, or sometimes when the last games are coming on.
So at night.
Yeah, at night, and then I also go live at 5. Most of the time at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll probably go live right after your show, Kyle.
Okay.
So yeah, find me on YouTube at Crispy Captain 2 P's 2 N's, and the same thing on Twitter applies as well.
Cool. All right. First leg of the community parlay, by the way, was Cavs money line. If you bet, Hawks got second, so if you clicked on the Hawks, you got another chance here. So we got Clippers, Grizzlies. Clippers won that poll. Heat, Pelicans. Who won that poll? I think the Heat did. I think the Heat won that poll. Yeah.
Yeah, the Heat did win. You said Heat earlier, huh?
Yep. All right, and then the Bucks won that poll also, and then Nuggets, Blazers. Nuggets won the poll. All right, cast your votes. Let's get the second leg in. Someone goes, no thanks, I'm loyal to the sauce. Dude, I'm not saying you watch them instead of me. I'm saying you can also watch them.
Sorry, I can only watch one person.
Someone says, Matt does a really good job. Not as good as you, but he's got game.
Listen, I'll take that. Someone's telling you you've got game. I'll take that compliment.
All right, so let's see the votes coming in on the Clippers here. We're off to a pretty chalky start. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. You're getting a lot of positive reviews in the comments here, Modai.
Yeah, shout out Kyle. A lot of people from your show have now come to mind.
Oh, cool. I'm glad to hear it. All right, so we got Cavs and Clippers. So we got two, and the 2 second place finishers were Heat and Hawks. So we'll do one last poll, and we're going to take first and second place from this poll. So we'll do Hornets plus 12.5 because they won the poll. Spurs, Lakers money line, chalky as hell. Hawks money line, and Heat money line. All right, let's finish out this community parlay. First and second place are finishing it. Which 2 legs are joining Cavs and Clips? Oh, yeah, and someone asked about college basketball. We usually skip Fridays because Saturday's so loaded for college basketball that it gives us more time. Andy's actually sitting here right now. We're about to make a college basketball video for tomorrow's games. And with the live show tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., I think we have 20 games lined up for it. So tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, me, Toast, Andy, and I think Scoop, we're going to go through 20 games. And it's might be the most loaded college basketball day of the year so far. There's a lot of good games on tomorrow. So if you're able to make it 10:30 Eastern time, should be a fun college basketball day. All right, looks like Lakers and possibly Heat. I'll give it a few more seconds. Yeah, Toast. Oh, Toast is in the comments. There he is. He'll be here tomorrow. Do not miss tomorrow in all caps. Do not miss tomorrow to watch Sauce body Toast against the spread in college basketball. All right, 31%, 20. So it's Lakers and Heat. That's the parlay.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll pull up the odds. That would be best offered on ESPN Bet at plus 398.
398?
It's
with the Heat in there, plus 398? I thought it would give us better. I mean, I know Lakers and Clippers are really chalky, though. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and now with the Cavs line moving, yeah. So, community parlay is Cavs money line, Clippers money line, Lakers money line, Heat money line plus 398. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Like I said, we're going to upload a college basketball video tonight. I'll upload an NBA video for tomorrow late night, but I think there's only 3 games on tomorrow, so it'll be a short one. And then tomorrow morning, the biggest college basketball show of the year. I'm expecting to have a lot of viewers in there. It should be a fun one. So hopefully see you guys in the comments tomorrow morning. Remember to bet responsibly tonight. Thanks for coming out, guys.